Hi guys, it's Monday. It is February the 1st. It's the first day of February. And February, when we say February, begins with a F sound, the letter F. And it's the first day of the month, and we have a new unit for reading. We're moving on to a new unit. And today we have the concept video we need to watch. So I'm going to turn the sound up.
What can we learn from our adventures?
Sometimes my friends and I play games after school. Those are adventures.
There are many kinds of adventures that you might have each day, and they all teach us something. Catching the school bus might be an adventure, especially if you have to race to get ready. That adventure might teach you to get up earlier. Trying to find your way around the bustle of a new school or neighborhood might also be an adventure, one that will teach you how to navigate. A trip can be an adventure, especially one to a different part of the world, where you can learn about different cultures and eat new foods. Your teacher might even take you on a planned adventure, like on a field trip to a zoo, where you can learn all about animals. You don't have to take a journey to have an adventure. For some families, just making dinner is an adventure, especially when they are hungry. It's a great way to learn how to cook. This week, you will learn about adventures and what they can teach you. What can you learn from your adventures?
We're going on a special trip. We're going on a special trip. We won't get lonely or homesick. We're going on a special trip. A journey all around the world, A journey all around the world, Map the horizon with a camera click. A journey all around the world, Now we're home from our trip, Now we're home from our trip, It was fun, but let's get back there real quick. Now we're home from our trip,
All right. That is the end of our song. Didn't stop it fast enough. All right. Day one. Okay, let's move down. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is sequence. In the book we're going to read today, The Rooster's Off to See the World, things happen in a sequence. Something happens first, something happens second, something happens in the middle, something happens at the end. That's called sequencing. And sequencing is very important to help you understand the plot of a story. So that sequence is a very important concept for us to learn and understand. So listen to the video about sequence to help you remember what sequence means.
Sequence. In a story, events happen in a certain order. Something happens first, something happens next, something happens last. The order in which things happen is called sequence. This is Mama Bird. She has 3 eggs. Let's pay attention to the order or sequence of events. First, Mama Bird sits on her eggs until they are ready to hatch.
What's that? Oh, you're hungry.
Next, she feeds them worms so they can become strong.
Eat up, little ones. You're going to need your strength.
Last, Mama Bird teaches her 3 babies how to fly.
Look, Mama, look.
Good job, babies. They grow up so fast.
What clue words told us the order or sequence of these events? Right. First, next, and last. Great work.
All right, I want you to remember what you just heard about sequence. And we have a new book today. Let me turn. Maybe that'll be better. Today's title is Roosters Off to See the World. And the author and the illustrator are the same person. The person who wrote the story, his name is Eric Carle. And the illustrator is also Eric Carle. We've read one of Eric Carle's books before. We read Brown Bear. And his art is very interesting and different. A lot of his art will look like sometimes that he painted the art with a paint strokes. Sometimes it looks like he may have used tissue, colored tissue paper, like what you use to wrap a gift with. And sometimes it looks like he uses both. His artwork is very distinct, and you can always almost know whose book it is. You can always tell it's an Eric Carle book by the artwork usually. But Roosters Off to See the World. Let's think about that title. Roosters Off to See the World. So who is a character we already kind of know just by looking at the title of the book? That's right, it's probably going to be a rooster. And it sounds as though we kind of can guess the plot, that maybe he goes on a trip to see the world. So let's open the book. Again, what is this page called? That's right, that's the title page. Is this where the story starts? No, the story doesn't start here. But look at that artwork. Isn't it beautiful? The copyright of this book is 1972. Miss Kay Davis was 2 years old when this book was first copyrighted. One fine morning, a rooster decided that he wanted to travel. So right then and there, he set out to see the world. He hadn't walked very far when he began to feel lonely. Just then he met 2 cats. The rooster said to them, "Come along with me to see the world." The cats liked the idea of a trip very much. "We would love to," they purred, and set off down the road with the rooster. So we have a rooster, and he meets up with 2 cats. So first it was one rooster, and now we have 2 cats. The first thing they have, he meets up with, are cats. Who is he meeting up with now? As they wandered on, the rooster and the cats met 3 frogs. "How would you like to come with us to see the world?" And the rooster, "How would you like to come with us to see the world?" asked the rooster, eager for more company. "Why not?" answered the frogs. "We are not busy now." So the frogs jumped along behind the rooster and the cats. So first there was one rooster, then there were 2 cats, and now we have 3 frogs. After a while, the rooster and the cats and the frogs saw 4 turtles crawling slowly down the road. "Hey," said the rooster, "how would you like to see the world?" "It might be fun," snapped one of the turtles, and they joined the others. I like what Eric Carle has done here. He keeps reminding us who is all on this trip. One rooster, 2 cats, 3 frogs, 4 turtles. As the rooster and the cats and the frogs and the turtles walked along, they came to 5 fish swimming in the brook. "Where are you going?" asked the fish. "We're off to see the world," said the rooster. "May we come along?" pleaded the fish. "Delighted to have you," said the rooster. And so the fish came along to see the world. The sun went down and it began to get dark. The moon came up over the horizon. "Where's our dinner?" asked the cats. "Where are we supposed to sleep?" asked the frogs. "We're cold," said the turtles. Just then the fireflies flew overhead. "We're afraid," cried the fish. Now the rooster really had not made any plans for the trip around the world. He had not remembered to think about food and shelter, so he didn't know how to answer his friends. After a few minutes of silence, the fish finally decided it might be best if they headed home. So they wished the others a happy trip and they swam away. Then the turtles began to think about their warm house, and they turned and crawled back down the road without so much as a goodbye. So see now, the fish left. The fish aren't on here anymore. The turtles have left. They're not on here anymore. All that's left are the frogs, the cats, and of course, the leader of the pack, the rooster. So there they are, the frogs, the cats, and the rooster. The frogs weren't too happy with the trip anymore either. First one, and then the other, and finally the last one jumped away. They were polite enough, though, to wish the rooster a good evening as they disappeared into the night. So now who is left? We have 2 cats and a rooster. The cats then remembered an unfinished meal they had left behind. They kindly wished the rooster a happy journey, and they too headed for home. Now the rooster was all alone. He hadn't seen anything of the world. He thought for a minute and said to the moon, "To tell you the truth, I am not only hungry and cold, but I'm homesick as well." The moon did not answer. It too disappeared. See, there's the moon. The moon is disappearing. So now here we are with the rooster again. So the rooster knew what he had to do. He turned around and went back home again. He enjoyed a good meal of grain and then sat on his very own perch. After a while, he went to sleep and had a wonderful, happy dream all about the trip around the world. I like the story, and I love the artwork in this story the most. So, we're studying about sequence this week. There's a lot of main ideas about this book we could talk about to remind us of last week when we talked about main idea. But for right now, let's just talk about sequence. Let's talk about what happened at the beginning of the story. At the beginning of the story, who wanted to go and take a trip around the world? Well, we know Rooster started this whole thing off. He wanted to go and see the world. Okay? The first animals he came to were who? They were cats. The next animals were who? The frogs. Okay, we're going to turn let's turn to this page where it has all of them with him. Here they are. So first was the rooster, then the cats, then the frogs, then the turtles, and then the fish. So they were all traveling. That's the sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 groups, types of animals. So then once they started on the trip and they realized they didn't have anywhere to eat, they didn't have anywhere to sleep, they decided they would all start going home one group at a time. And so the sequence of them going back home, the fish went first, then the turtles, then the frogs, then the who. And then finally, the rooster decided to go home. That is called sequence. That is the order things happen in a story or in a book. That's the order that it happens. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. First, the rooster wanted to go on a trip. Then the rest of them followed suit. The order goes back in reverse when they decide to go home. First group to go home, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay? That is called sequence, and sequence helps us understand the plot of a story. There are a lot of different characters in this story. The characters are the animals that were in this story. The rooster, of course, was the main character. Then the cats, the frogs, the turtles, the fish, they were all characters in the story. And most of this story takes place, the setting is when and where it takes place. And it takes place outside. That we would just say the setting is outside because we're not really sure where they are. But we do know, did it take place in the daytime or the nighttime? Most of this story takes place during the nighttime. Most of it takes place in the nighttime. The beginning, it was daytime, but most of the story takes place in the nighttime. So we have talked about plot, we have talked about characters, and we have talked about setting in this book. Okay? We have new sight words this week. We're moving on with our sight words. Last week we talked about the sight words they, you, and of. This week we have this sight word, are. Remember, I've told you before that I remember are because of the letter R in the middle. A-R-E-R. This sight word is are. A-R-E-R. I also am showing you what it looks like with the fancy lowercase a, because a lot of times R will be in the middle of a sentence and will not be uppercase. So we need to learn A-R-E-R, A-R-E-R, A-R-E-R. We are having virtual school for another week. Are. That's how I use the word are in the sentence. You make a sentence with the word are. You might say, we are wearing our pajamas while doing virtual school. I'm not sure what you are doing. Or you could say, we are having fun during virtual school. Or you might say, we are ready for in-person school. Tell you a secret, Miss Kay Davis is ready for in-person school. But we're going to try to make the best of what we're doing right now. All right. That. T-H-A-T, that. T-H-A-T, that. That. If you cover up the T-H, you have at. That. T-H-A-T. That. That is my cell phone. You could say that. That. You make a sentence with the word that. I might say, that is my iPad. That. D-O, do. D-O, do. D-O, do. Do you like your Chromebook? You'd have to put a question mark at the end of that. Do you like your Chromebook? You might reply, I do like my Chromebook. Do. D-O, do. Okay? Our letter this week is the letter H. Last Friday, I told you to think about some words that begin with the sound. Share with me some of these words you've thought of that begin with a sound. We said Hulk last week. Think of some other words that begin with a sound. Hand, house, hand, and house begin with a sound. Listen to me say hand. And house. The name of this letter is H. H makes the sound. The name of this letter is H. H makes the sound. Okay. We're going to use this page today, but it's going to be in the the reading extra practice video. So you need to have this out, but not right now. The two sheets you need to have out right now are, you need this sheet, and you need this sheet. And while you are finding your sheets, I am going to go turn off the light. Boys and girls, you know it helps us see better when Miss Davis turns off the lights for the smartboard. Yeah, that's going to help you see better, I believe. Okay, so there's the letter H. And we know what to do with this page. Okay. We're going to make uppercase H's. Uppercase H's touch the top line and the bottom line, and they are big lines, okay? H. My smartboard isn't aligned quite right this morning. I'm gonna have to fix that. H. Okay, you're going to write H, 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 H. When you write the H, I want you to think H makes the sound. This is a capital H. You would use a capital H when you're writing a sentence and the first word begins with H, or for someone's name. Like if my grandfather's name was Hubert, you would write a capital H for Hubert. Okay, next is the lowercase h. Lowercase h is a big line and a little curve. And again, my smartboard's not aligned just right. But it's big line, little curve, H. Okay, you need to trace. Big line, little curve. Big line, little curve. You're going to trace it with a pencil, crayon, marker, whatever your parents have asked you to use. Big line, little curve. Big line, little curve. H, 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 H. Okay, at the bottom, I see a picture of a horse. Let's say horse. 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 The beginning sound is so we will color the horse. Next picture I see is house. 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 The beginning sound is you will color house. Hat. At. The beginning sound is we could also say this is so easy. Act. The beginning sound is the middle sound was ah. The ending sound is t. So color horse, house, hat. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to erase my H's. And I'm going to try to fix the orientation of my board. See if it'll let me do it this morning. There it is. You finish writing your H's. Finish coloring horse, house. All right, maybe that will help us with the next sheet, our last sheet. You need to make sure you have colored horse, house, hat. All right, now if you're not through with that sheet, just kind of push it over to the side and we're gonna work on this next sheet. I probably don't even have to tell you what to do. I want you to think about it for a second. What are we going to do first? That's right, we're gonna write 3 uppercase capital H's. We're gonna start at the top line and make 2 big lines. Big line, man, it's still not right. Big line, I think I made it worse. Let's see, where? Make 3 of those. I did not fix the smartboard. That's all right. So you're gonna write capital H, capital H. Lowercase h is straight line. I'm gonna try to just move on up to try to fix that. Lowercase h. Straight line, little curve. You need to write 3 of those. Okay, now here, I see a capital H. I see B right here at the bottom. B. Let's come over here to it. There it is. B. That's a capital H. Hob. That is someone's name. That is the name Hob. B. So you're going to need to write capital H, but the rest of those letters should be lowercase. Just the first letter. The letter H should be capital. Hob. That's someone's name. Okay, next it says hat. I'm not sure why they have a capital H for hat. I don't know anyone named Hat. So I kind of would like for you to write hat to lowercase h. I don't know if they're just trying to trick us or what. At, hat, lowercase h. Okay, while you're finishing your 1, 2, 3 capital H's, 1, 2, 3 lowercase h's, hob with an uppercase H, and hat with a lowercase h. Later on, if you want to color the house, you may, because house begins with a sound. Okay, turn your paper over. We're going to write lowercase letters. We're going to write the beginning sound. Okay, house. House, what's the beginning sound? That's right. What letter makes that sound? The letter H. So we're going to write lowercase h, and this is driving me crazy. All right, lowercase h. Helicopter. Helicopter. What's the first sound you hear? That's right, H. So we're going to write lower. I'm just going to move up. Maybe it'll make it look right. Lowercase h. Helicopter. Duck. Remember we talked about ducklings or baby ducks? When I say duck, I hear the what sound? The D sound. What letter makes the D sound? That's right, it's the letter D. We sure did practice D last week. There it is. Horse. What's the beginning sound in horse? You're right, it's the sound. So we're going to lowercase h. Hand. What's the first sound you hear in hand? You're correct, the sound. And lion. Lion. What's the first sound you hear in lion? The L sound, so lowercase l. Okay, so we're only going to color the pictures that have the sound in the beginning. So we're only going to color house, helicopter, horse, hand, and that's it. Do not color duck because duck begins with the D sound. Do not color lion. Lion begins with the L sound. All right, we will do more with the sound with our reading extra practice today. And because we're going to look at that sheet with our letter names and the words. And we will practice reading words that begin with a